Khloe Kardashian, not worse. There's my tagline. So people ask me to do Khloe Kardashian. We've done Jolie. I keep on calling it Angelina Jolie or one of these ESFPs. What's her name again? Kim Kardashian. I don't know this one's name. She looks double feminine. And what I would say is how you judge others is how you judge yourself. So I have really learned, be careful with people's messy life and crazy dramatic life, because if you're going to be growing, that's kind of what it looks like. And I say, at least these two, I don't know much about this one, like the Kardashians as a whole, I would say, again, grading on a curve over the last 10, 15 years, haven't gotten a lot worse. They seem to be kind of getting a lot better, a lot of growth. Anyways, Khloe, I have found that I kind of really like her as far as who she is from what I've seen from the clips. Maybe she's a horrible person in real life, but I see a lot of positive traits in Khloe the person. We'll kind of get into that. So one thing is she's rather tall. So we know, God, what's her name again? Kim, she's audio, ESFP. Khloe is tall. I've noticed that Khloe is rather tall. We believe her to be double masculine. So you got double masculine. Take a strong guess as double feminine. You know, maybe fucking someday I'll be forced to do we'll do the whole fucking Kardashian line. It's like collect all the action figures. Jolie here is J-Lo. That's what I want to call her. I want to call her J-Lo. I think she's the same type as J-Lo. So one thing about the sisters is it reminded me of the siblings thing. I got a slide on that. Let me jump down to that. Hold on, don't mind that. That's just my little get the size thing there for the editing cuts. The firstborns thing. It seems to be very real. I mean, remember this is something I was studying back in the Christian days when I was in my early 20s, and read some books on that. There's a guy doing through the Christian circuit, talking about firstborns and middle child and all that kind of stuff. And there was some data and research on it. And I remember at the time he was really good. Like, he'd be able to pick people out of a crowd and be able to tell which birth order they were in. I'm like, well, that's kind of objectively interesting. Like, he would be able to predict and do that. And so it's something I've always had in the back of my mind is of watching the child birth order thing. So you got the firstborn who's more responsible, motivated, conscientious, controlling, cautious, reliable, kind of the achiever. They're responsible one because they're stuck taking care of all the fucking idiots. Then they got the middle kid who's kind of left out. They got to take care of themselves. They're people pleasers because they got to overcompensate because they're not getting the drama the first and third are, right? This is kind of the baby, the spoiled, the attention seeker. They end up being kind of the shithead, And then you got the fourth one, which would be like the only child. So this is Cody. We see this kind of playing out with Cody, like where's it on like self-dependent? Yeah, it's like he's definitely has to take care of himself. And as an EJ, it kind of works out pretty good that he's got to like be forced to go into his inner world a lot of times because he doesn't have some fucking brother or sister to harass all the time, With the child birth order thing, it's definitely a real thing. Like, because we're seeing it's like you got your 512 type or social type, fixed and growth mindset. Really, it's like the thing would be ACEs. How much abuse did you go through growing up? Like, that's a big factor. How much abuse? What kind of abuse? That's definitely going to form. You just got like a weed or a flower growing. Like, are you going to warp this way or that way, depending on what kind of shit you went through, And having brothers and sisters is definitely kind of a trauma that moves you either way. Not necessarily a negative trauma, but it's definitely moving you either way. And as a firstborn myself, I have 3 younger brothers, and growing up just knowing like, yeah, I'm always babysitting, I'm always kind of taking charge, and it's like, that also then kind of works with my type as well. Shani is a middle child. She has an older brother and a younger sister, just like this setup here. And she played the role of the older sister. She played the role as the firstborn. And that was something that I remember the Christian guy, the guy that talked about birth orders, that's one of the things he would say. In the Bible, it talks about, too, they'd have, like, birthrights. And, like, the younger one stole the birthright from the older one. It's like, yep, that can happen. So Shani seems to be more of, like, a dominant type, and her older brother, as smart as he is still kind of a dopey guy, not really wanting to take charge, doesn't want to have the birthright of playing that role. So they kind of switched, and they're close in age as well. So it was easy for her to kind of dominate and switch the role. So that's a very real thing. What I'm talking through is like finding just variables. So like, like the big 5, it's just like clumping everything. And when you pull apart the big 5, you're like, okay, what you guys are defining here as openness or conscientiousness or whatever, it's kind of like you get some double feminine. Like you gotta like, you need more little coins. And the same thing like when you're trying to like with the RC airplanes and stuff, like stop trying to make it like it's unstable, it doesn't fly. It's like, what is it? Is it a pitch, roll, or yaw issue? And then you start chopping it down into these small little SIs and variables, and you're just getting a fine tuning. You know what I mean? So it's like with the person, their personality type. It's like, okay, you got the 512, you got the social, you got ACEs, trauma, you got culture, you got age, you got race, you got time, upbringing, country again. And then you have like birth order is one that really kind of does affect, meaning you can have somebody who is the exact same type, exact same everything else, but if they have a very different birth order where you grew up with 1 or 2 siblings and they had like 10, and they were the oldest or the youngest, like that makes a pretty big difference, right? So back to Khloe here. She's ESFP, so her sister J-Lo is also ESFP. The younger one looks ESFP-ish, and we'll see that at times as well. Like types will kind of run in family. Definitely like types, genetics, your brothers and sisters, your race, even like they'll be kind of a line. Like Shandy comes from a long line of ENTJs, and we definitely see that. We haven't got a whole lot of data. We're not really like typing people and then like tell me your family tree, but like what we're seeing here and there is like doesn't seem to not be doing that. You know what I mean? Now, what's interesting about Khloe, and we typed her years ago. She's one of the first people we typed when we were getting in the personality code because there wasn't a lot of people around in 2014, you know, except for these nutheads. And so she was one of the first play last that we ever found, like double masculine play last ESFP. Usually when you get the ESFP, you get the skip version, you know, consume play. And they're usually double feminine or audio, you know what I mean? So kind of a rare type for a ESFP. Now, what's interesting is you got the double feminine introverted world and double activated sleep. So she's going to be actually very feminine, you know what I mean? Like, because it's savor sleep, FINI, which are both double activated feminine. So she is like the other one, the little sketchy one. Like that one's probably that would be the one I'd like. That's probably an interesting one because if she's double feminine and an ESFP, then that's going to be a little David Goggins in there, a little double masculine. That'd be the dangerous one. But again, the birth order, like it's like a tribe thing. If the other two sisters, the bigger ones, are like taking over all the drama and all the chaos, then the little one might just be like, oh, I'm going to sneak over here. And if you have those same three girls in a different birth order, they're forced to play different roles. Just like when you go to a party or you hang out with friends, if you're an extrovert and you show up late and everyone else is more extroverted than you, you're like, I'll take the quiet role. So it really, really fucking like kind of turns genes off or turns genes on depending on what fucking nutheads you live with, right? Speaking of nuthead, here's a guy I fucking can't stand, same type as me, double masculine, Howard Stern. Watch how he's interviewing her and they're talking about when her dad or stepdad, I guess it was stepdad, like Jenner, Bruce Jenner, right? Bruce Jenner then turned into Caitlyn Jenner. We see Bruce Jenner's type, double feminine, TESE. We see a string of transgenders in that type. So the fact that Bruce Jenner, TESE, double feminine, comes out as transgender, like, yep, we're seeing that in the data. That's normal. That we see that a lot in that type. So this time, it's like kind of like he's going through that transition from Bruce to Caitlyn. And so the daughters are going through fucking all this craziness because like you have a parent that's like transitioning way later in life, right? Because now you're an EJ, now you're allowed, right? So it's like what's interesting is that her as a double decider, she's like, yeah, I'm fine with all that. But anyways, you were hiding information. I was going through your underwear drawer in the closet. This is what we always say as a joke. Yeah, you don't fucking have the EPs over to your house. They'll literally, when you step out of the room, they'll go through your underwear drawer.
There was a time where you used to see all the women's clothing kicked around the house, and you kind of had an inkling that Bruce might be, when we all leave the house, Bruce might be dressing up as Caitlyn or dressing up as a woman.
Right.
So you kind of knew, but you didn't want to know, right?
Well, when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I want to say like 13, I was in Bruce's closet for some reason, and I pulled a bag down and I found wigs and makeup and all this stuff, and I told everyone what I don't know why it was alarming to me.
I don't know why.
I can't remember if there was something else specific that I said. I found all of that. I think I thought maybe Bruce was cheating. I don't know. When my family told me I was lying, well, my mom and Bruce, I think they didn't know what to do. I don't even think my mom knew, but everyone was like, oh, you're making it up, blah, blah, blah. So I always knew about, for some reason this event always stuck in my head. When I heard about this, I was like, now it's like, hello, like the pieces are coming together.
Do you know,
the pieces are coming together. That's the EP story. Why? Because you have SE at the top and the NI at the bottom. And so the same old story of the EP with SE is I saw the censor. Now I have the understanding. That's going to be the common story of SE at the top.
So you took the news the hardest, and I admired you for that. I think you weren't trying to be PC. The PC thing would have been, because you know the cameras are rolling. The PC thing to do would have been to say, yes, I understand. You're becoming a woman. Of course, I support you, blah, 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 blah. Wait a second. This is the guy who's your dad. He's the male influence in your life. He's now sitting there in a dress and heels and saying, hey, let's all go dress up. It can't be that fucking easy.
It's not that easy, but it's also, I don't give a fuck what you want to do. Stop lying to us about things. And also, it's like, each sister had a different story because he couldn't keep up. I'm like, let's just lay it on the table. What are we doing? What's happening? Even then, he didn't tell us that he was, like, we didn't know when he was going to start fully, like, dressing as Caitlyn or any of that.
Yeah.
And even then, he didn't tell us that. He was like, soon it's going to happen. It's like, I think he knew when.
Right.
And it's frustrating to go. So yes, my reaction might have been harsh, but in any normal family that's not on camera, I would love to see your reaction.
So let me break that down. So Bruce is going through a transition. He's TESE. I think he's play, consume, blast, or play, consume, sleep. So he's just like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to tell you my plan. I'm an EJ. This is super personal. This is super weird. I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to share this. And she's like, yeah, do whatever you want to do. Change your identity. Change your gender. I don't give a fuck. But just tell me the plan. Don't hide the plan from me, because missing information, don't hide the plan. And then also, too, it's just like, with the double-siders, double observers, just like, I don't care what you do. Just if you're going to transition, then don't hide your purse. I want to know, what's the plan? What's your thing? What do you got there? Just how fascinating. You're going through something in life, and you're so worried that people are going to hate you and judge you right over here. No, they're not. They're not going to hate you and judge you for this over here. They're going to hate you and judge you for this over here, because that's their perception of reality.
And so learning to just reprogram myself, like, even though if someone did something bad to me, it doesn't just mean I'm like, there's a wall and I built it up. I know that this isn't the right thing for me and I need to slowly heal and move on, but it doesn't happen overnight.
No, I love that, and I love that you're open about it.
Then Kelly starts talking. So one thing I saw with Khloe is as she's getting older, like, there's more of a calmness. There's more of a forgiveness. There's more of a letting go, and that's what's great of like watching somebody on YouTube videos over the years, or the Kardashians, I'd say, are like classic kids crying in their bedroom YouTube, where it's like you have this factor of, okay, we have video footage of you for the past 10 to 15 years. And so you can watch the person kind of grow up. That's what I saw with her over the years, is like how much she has matured. And there's just like a chill out factor. She's like, I'm tired. I don't want to fucking fight everybody. I don't want to keep carrying this on. Like, you hit your purse, you transition, you don't transition. They yelled at me, my sisters, my mom. Why don't I just fucking start letting this go and start being forgiving?